I think oftentimes I read about this too, the perfectionist tendencies that we all probably have being very type A personalities end up not serving us in more ways because we are unwilling to believe that we make mistakes. And I think that, as a leader, I try to make as many mistakes as possible, but you don't stand out at all times. In fact, you might just fit in if you're lucky.
Hi, I'm Hannah Bloking.
Hi, I'm Allison Macklick, and this is another episode of Imposter Talks. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Travis Fabian. Travis is my SVP at .org for Salesforce. I've worked with him now going on our 4th year, and we are very excited to have him. Thank you for your time. Travis, I do not want to not do you justice. Tell us who you are. Tell us about your career and what brought you here today.
Oh my gosh, great to join both of you today. Thanks for taking some time. So I'm Travis Fabian. I have the great honor of leading this amazing organization that I get to be a part of as well within Salesforce and Salesforce.org, leading the Global Solutions organization. Just an outstanding team, and we get to have a lot of fun working with nonprofit education customers, solving big world problems using software and technology and great ideas. It's just been the best job I've had. Sorry to all my other LinkedIn companies I've worked with, but this is my favorite. So it's been great.
So you get to lead this big organization solving the complex problems of all these other big organizations that are doing really important work. We're here today to talk to you about imposter syndrome. So big job, big responsibility, super important. I'm sure that this question is bringing up a lot of things for maybe that you feel today, but also just how you got here today. But we'd love to talk to you about what does imposter syndrome mean to you, Mr. SVP?
Oh my gosh, I'm starting to have imposter syndrome about imposter syndrome. No, it's a great question, right? And I'm hearing from both of you talk about how popular this topic is as you go on your roadshow. And this is something that I don't think there was a term for this years back. And then you started hearing about this term like that. That's a fascinating term. You can almost immediately identify with the idea that someone's going to find out that you don't know what you're doing. And I look at it from a couple of different angles. One of them is, it's a challenge because it can hold you back. It can hold you back from taking risks. You can get in your mind when you're about to get in front of a big presentation. And in the worlds in which we all live, those around us in these organizations that are doing this great work are really good at their jobs, if you're lucky. And just so happens in our organization, I know for Hannah, for you as well, you're around people who are great. They're the giants of their roles, and they're doing this amazing work, but you don't stand out at all times. In fact, you might just fit in if you're lucky. And so I feel like it's actually a blessing, right? It's a gift to have the sense that those around you are actually really tall trees and you're trying to get to some sunlight as well. I think the challenge is though comes in when you're held back or you're holding yourself back from the next big opportunity because you maybe haven't mastered something. And so I think of it that direction is how does it serve you from a perspective of humility and understanding that and appreciation for those that are around you and doing great work, but also a sense of, hey, mindfulness, this can also hold you back, that you don't hit a brick wall in terms of your career trajectory.
Yeah, that's really important. It's so interesting. Hannah and I talked to all different types of people, from executives, individual contributors, to people who've just started their role in pre-sales for the first time in 6 months. It's just so interesting to hear how the more tenured you are, talking to you, how you can transform that feeling and using it almost as like your superpower. And I think for everyone listening, it's so inspirational for me too. That's where I want to get, like using it, understanding, being humble, but also don't letting hold you back. So thank you so much for sharing. So talking about work and in your professional life, have you ever experienced your own imposter? Has it ever held you back, or did you approach it like you just told us, like what you do now?
Every day that is and why, Allison, for sure. It's alive and well, right? For me personally, I think, yes, my tendency as a leader, just a human being is I'm always looking at how can I improve? What are the things that I can be doing better? And that voice can sometimes get really strong. Like you have a long way to go. And that again can serve you in a lot of ways. But my tendencies are it's almost like a meditation technique where the gurus will teach you. Any book on meditation would tell you like the first step is right to start breathing, to take note of your breathing, and then be really mindful of the fact that you're taking this moment and get your head out of everything else and focus on this one thing at this one time. And so from looking at it from a kind of observance point of view, knowing that's happening, about to go on a stage, going into that process, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to do a great job, I'm not going to present. Well, that will actually end up being true if in fact you can't step away from it. Notice that's happening. Give it the time or the moment that it needs and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to be myself, going out, presenting who you are, really owning your personality and what you bring to the table and just being comfortable with that. And by the way, it's okay to screw up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if things don't go perfectly according to plan. But I think oftentimes I've read about this too, the perfectionist tendencies that we all probably have being very type A personalities end up not serving us in more ways because we are unwilling to believe that we make mistakes. And I think that, as a leader, I try to make as many mistakes as possible. You've probably seen that, Allison. With our team is it's okay to be yourself. It's okay. Take a step back, say you don't know, ask good questions because that invites not only humility, but it invites others to the table to join the conversation.
Yeah. And I bet Hannah has a follow-up. I just want to say real quick, Hannah, one thing that has been really impactful for me personally, and of course, we're going to be on LinkedIn and we can share with our team, but almost your vulnerability in saying it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not know. And then this is what I know has been such a relief for everyone just leading like that. So I just wanted to say thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I second that. And I also really appreciate that a resounding theme that we're hearing when we talk to more senior people is it's okay to make a mistake and acknowledging that to get to where you are, you have made mistakes. And I think perfectionists, those type A personalities, sometimes we don't want to take that risk because we're afraid of making a mistake or a very public mistake. So I think that's really important call out that you made as well and important for people to hear. That being said, so many great takeaways from our conversation today. Do you have just maybe one piece of go-to advice that you would leave those watching, the team members that you're leading through these challenging times, and our audience on LinkedIn who are going through challenging times along with all of us?
I wish I had a silver bullet for those challenging times that we're in at the moment. Of course, I don't know. I'm going to go back to what Allison just said. And in a recent call that we had as a team, the number one feedback I got from the call that we had was that they appreciated that I was being myself and that I was showing up as I could in that moment. And as we go through tough challenges and times, just actually owning that and not trying to read from a script or overthink things. And that took a huge leap to do that because I like being prepared and we all like that. We like things to be tidied up and there was nothing tidy about some of those moments. So I just appreciate that. I appreciate that was reflected back to me. And I'm going to work on doing that a lot more often, which is great.
I love that. Hannah and I, it's so ironic because we help people every single day overcome their own imposter, but it's also a reminder to myself for my own. And it's, oh my gosh, they're doing this and look what they're doing. And at the end of the day, Hannah and I just kept back to we're ourselves, we're vulnerable, we're real. You should have seen our very first Imposter Talk. It crashed and burned so hard that we had to delete it. Like it was the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened, but we were like, that's us. We're not going to try. And we owned it and we just kept growing from there. So I just think, especially like Hannah said, hearing from more of our senior folks that it's okay. And that's what I hope someone watching this, especially someone early in their career, thinks and takes that away. Hey.
Yeah. Mistakes. They say now it doesn't work. Mistakes are a gift sometimes. Not all the time.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. It's how we learn how to look around corners by having been burned in the past. This has been the best conversation. Travis, thank you so much for joining us for this talk.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Hannah.
Right.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Imposter Talks.
Subscribe, like, and review our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And please follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube at 4under3.
And we want to hear your imposter story. If you're interested in being a guest, please email us at info@4under3.io. Thanks so much.